Back to the SEC. Two more Saturday games, both in this conference, before we shoot one Sunday game along with the ASUN tournament futures odds. Georgia at Texas. KenPom makes this line Texas -3. No odds available per FanDuel Sportsbook just yet for this game. But assuming this spread opens around Longhorns laying a full possession-ish, maybe juice 2.5 or 2.5 -110 both ways. How are you looking about this one?
Horns up, baby. Horns up. That's what we're doing. We are betting on Texas again. I really like when I win a bet by the hook. And I'll tell you why. It's my favorite way to win a bet.
You got a ton of closing line value on that game.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, I've been making a distinct point to get ahead of my originating and give out my plays a lot earlier, because this is the time of the year where you need to. And I probably cost myself a couple bucks not doing it the whole season. But, I like also being able to flex, beating, commanding, mark, all that good stuff. But I love winning a bet by the hook because, especially on an opening hook, like the 5.5 was for Texas against Arkansas there, because KenPom's number isn't really going to get impacted. That's going to go down as KenPom very happy with how that, and I'm not talking about the person. Ken and I have chatted a couple times in our lives. I'm talking about the model as though it's a sentient being. KP, the model, isn't really going to move its needle because it essentially nailed it, right? Both teams went exactly as predicted, which means that they are the strengths they were supposed to be. They might shift a little bit by relative strengths, by their resumes shifting if someone has a massive win, but you're not getting too much of that at this point unless it's a huge result. But nonetheless, I think the important thing there is that the needle's not going to move on Texas. So if you had an edge on Texas, there's really not much of a reason why you should be sitting there saying, okay, I'm not betting Texas again. Maybe the market will be a little bit sharper, and maybe it will open up a point on Texas, like towards so that you lose a little bit of value. You can't get that full value on the KenPom opener, maybe. But yeah, I'd play it early. I'd expect the value to come in again. I'd expect the market to understand that they have a little bit of value, mostly because they are good at the rim and they haven't had a lot of success. And I think the SEC is going to give them some chances. So we'll see. Late season's always a little interesting. And motivation, all that, not really factored in. But if you like that stuff, I do think Texas has plenty.
Yeah, a couple things going against Georgia here. You mentioned it with Georgia and Florida earlier. Are the Bulldogs going to shoot 56% again from three, even though they're fully healthy at this point with Tyron Lawrence back in the rotation after missing a handful of games? And then you look at their isolation defense, which is how Trey Johnson scores and then some. 39 points against Arkansas really won you the bet. Kept them within the number, even though they were up in overtime by a few points or so. 39 points in that one. If you can't guard in isolation, that is a death sentence against one of the best scorers as a freshman in college basketball. So probably no bet for me, but I'm with you. This one is Texas or pass, just based off of the notion that is Georgia going to be able to carry over that three-point shooting on the road now after getting right back on the bubble with that win over number 3 Florida? And are you going to be able to stop Trey Johnson? Probably not.